Play my music. Hi folks, welcome to Game On. We just want to take a wee minute just to say thank you to everyone. We've had so many kind messages in, really good reviews, and a special thanks to you, Auntie Ethel. That was a lovely word she passed on, wasn't it?
Good old Auntie Ethel.
Exactly. But one critique we've had, maybe unfair, is some people feel is it too similar? Like, are we in the same show every week? Are we talking about the same stuff? I think that's unfair. I'm Michael Gannon. Oh, sorry, I've not changed the script. I'm Graeme Young, and today I'm joined by Fraser Wilson. How are you?
Not bad, mate. Laurel and Hardy. St. Greaves, I got told.
Well,
I'll go for that one.
Well, we're maybe more the
I'll
Chuckle
be
Brothers.
saying, you can be Greavesy.
So we're here today, and we're here to talk about the big talking point Scottish football. Rangers are in crisis. Celtic fans want more, and Aberdeen punters don't even know when they're going to get a goal, never mind a win. Hold on a minute. Maybe that person that emailed in might have a point.
Groundhog Day, isn't it?
Groundhog Day again.
Aye.
So where do we start? Only one place. Ibrox, Rangers, and it's Russell Martin. It's the inescapable torment that he's enduring as Rangers manager. We're only in it a few months. It probably feels like a few years from at this point. The big question, yes, should he manage another game as Rangers manager?
Another game?
Another game.
Yeah. Aye. The big question is, should he manage the one after the other game? Another game. So he's getting Livingston, right? I think we can all be clear on that. He will take charge at Livingston, which is a big test of this Rangers side's mettle. You know, is one of the biggest tests in the Scottish Premiership at the moment. So look, he'll get that. He needs to win it. He needs a foothold. They thought they maybe had it last Saturday with that win at home at Hibs, which I thought was decent. That was a decent performance. I've heard folks slating it. I thought they were okay against Hibs. That was a tough one. They were okay at the back. They were decent going forward. This one's completely different because Thursday's just set them back again, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. Thursday's set them back again. So, look, I've said it for day one, for the first game against Panathinaikos, this Russell Martin team is far too open, far too easy to play against, which surprises me for a guy that was a centre-half. Good Rangers sides have always been built on solid foundations, and that's what Russell Martin's not getting. So, the fans want him out. That is clear as anything. The fans want him out. He needs to give them something, some hope, some form, something to hold on to. And at the moment, there's just no sign of progress on the park at Rangers at the moment. And that's his biggest failing, I would say. I mean, what is it, 16, 17 games in now? And there's no sign of progress, potentially going backwards. Empty seats, thousands of empty seats the last two home games. That speaks volumes. The clock is seriously ticking now.
It's comedic now in the sense, I saw last night, he's scanning the pitch and there's a banner there with his face on it and over the other side. And when you're a manager who, it's so obvious now, isn't it? And I felt after the Genk game, it was giving the answers short shrift, where in the past, Martin's been able to kind of navigate. That's the one thing I think even his most ardent critic would admit, that he's met every question head on. I even think at this point, it's getting difficult for him, isn't it? That's it. And Livingston, I think Rangers fans have been through this script so many times recently where it doesn't matter what the game is, it's coming. And that game, whatever it will be the one that will decide it. But it feels now we're past that point. Maybe come on with someone as well. I think that's a worry for Rangers fans. It's not obvious where the end will come. And I think they're just obviously desperate for that.
You just wonder if it's coming in the international break. If they've not picked up by then, I think he needs a bare minimum 2 Premiership victories in the 3 games before the international break and an awful good performance away to Sturm Graz in between. But look, who knows what's going on in Andrew Cavanagh's head?
Yep.
And look, if fans are wanting Martin out, they want Patrick Stewart out, Kevin Thelwell's being questioned. Is Andrew Cavenagh the next in the firing line?
Potentially, nothing's off limits. I know with Andrew Cavenagh, it was good grace, just the fact to take over. I think Rangers, the last 5, 6, 7 years, haven't gone after Steven, especially after Steven Gerrard left. It's just been setback after set. You've got the highs of the Europa League final, but there was always the domestic form in particular. So having new owners come in, tied with the 49ers, blue sky thinking, new, fresh ideas, and I think he spoke very well at the EGM. I think he won people over. Pretty grounded in reality. I think that's what people talk about with Andrew Cavenagh.
Mm-hmm.
He's not someone who's got to sell of it. So, but as your first time at the head of a football club, I think it's logical you're what you go to give the person in the manager's seat time. But it will come a point where Cavanagh's lack of experience in such a role, it might be used against him, because it is getting to that point now where it's awkward and Russell Martin can big up the talks they have. But that's just, I think everyone agrees that the Hearts game in attendance is toxic as anyone's ever really. I think that's the top one. The Hibs and the Genk games have very similarly eerie atmospheres where people are there, they don't want their team to lose, but at the same time, they don't really want it to go on much longer. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't think there's anything that can really bridge the gap now in terms of a statement. It probably is just what comes next. But if Russell Martin continues in the job, I think Andrew Cavanagh's probably feeling the heat as well. Would you think?
Was that the whistle?
No, I don't think so.
What was that noise?
I don't know. I think we just
just keep talking.
I think we keep talking.
Look, football's wild, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, you talk about rinse and repeat. If Martin goes, that'll be the fourth manager in under 3 years that's gone. If they're talking about getting rid of Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart in under 12 months, I mean, what does that say for all the changes Rangers bring in? And then, look, nobody is targeting the owner yet. It was such a wave of positivity when the Americans came in. There's a whistle now. That was they came in. I remember it started the day Philippe Clement got sacked against St Mirren back in February. The positivity that they got them to the end of the season, and then the money that was invested in the summer. Surely they couldn't throw all that away by starting to target the very guy that's brought in this new wave of optimism off the park. It's off to a terrible, terrible, terrible start, Andrew Cavenagh and his ownership of Rangers. But I think it'll all come down to his next big decision on who actually leads the football department. But whistle went ages ago, miles into all.
No, that's fine. Well, that was a wee mid-match hearing test, and you did pass it. The fact that you heard it, so I'm glad that worked there. So back to
age now.
That's it. So with Celtic, there's been a starting midfield in the bigger games. It's been Cal McGregor, Rio Hatate, and Benjamin Negrin. That is the first choice for Brendan Rodgers. But is that actually Celtic's best midfield? Is that free working for you, Franz?
From what I've seen, no to both those questions. I don't think it is the best midfield three, and it just doesn't seem to be working in terms of as fluid as they were last season. I watched Hatate the other night, and I thought he was really sloppy, giving away cheap passes. Just lacking the quality that we know he definitely possesses. They just don't seem to be having that, and going forward, they just don't seem to have that ability to play the cutting pass, to cut teams open the way they did last season. How long does Arne Engels sit in the sidelines? That's why I want to know what's kind of going on there. Rodgers sees him every week in training, every day in training, and we know that Brendan Rodgers is not scared to leave somebody out to make a point. And is he making a point here with Arne Engels? You've got your record signing, an £11 million man. Fans up in arms that money wasn't spent this summer, and yet they got so 30 million last summer on 3 guys that aren't currently playing. I feel Arne Engels has to come in, because I've seen enough that I think he will eventually become a good player for Celtic. Now, I don't know if he clashes in the same midfield three as Negrin. Is that the problem?
Well, he actually, the Falkirk game, the Falkirk game, he played in that left side link up position, the left 8. We had Hatate on the bench, he was excellent, but most of it was the corners, the brilliant corners that night against Falkirk. But he's a player of talent, and he's a better player when the game's moving quickly. Celtic are breaking long passes, balls round the corner, when everything's quite safe and passive. And to me, that was the big takeaway for the other night. McGregor actually did a really decent game, but I don't think he's protected enough in these European games. I think an option in away European games could be McGregor and Bernardo as 2 players sitting deeper, and Negrin just as a traditional 10, rather than these players playing in the half pockets. I think Negrin's much better when he's further up the pitch. He's not the best when he's back to goal, and it just doesn't quite work. But I think the point you made about Hatate is right. Celtic fans have got a real soft spot, and rightly so. But there's some of these games where he's destructive to what Celtic are trying to do. He gives the ball away, and it's easy passes as well. It's not always the really difficult, intricate passes.
Who's your 3 at home to Braga then?
I would go quickly. It would be McGregor, Engels, and Negrin, or Bernardo after I said. What would you go?
The same.
Yeah.
I wanted to go.
I gave you 2, but no, that's fine.
So I think I'd already said that anyway. Right, speaking of Celtic players that are off the boil, Japanese Celtic players that are off the boil, Daizen Maeda, 45 minutes of Well, I'll let you finish that one. From Wednesday night's draw over in Belgrade. Look, he's lost his Midas touch, isn't he? There's no doubt about it. Don't know where all those goals came from last season or where they've gone, but is it got to a point now where it's maybe riskier to play him? Should he be wrapped up in cotton wool, ready for a January exit?
That's a good question. I think it's very valid.
It's your question.
Well, that's
why you like that one.
I know. I
get yourself
teach it nice, but I think the point is strong because if these are the level of performances, you can't do his value any harm by not playing him. He's better not seen or heard. Our friend that's not here today, Michael Gannon, described it as a Reggie blinker, which is a nice little bit of phrasing that's not been heard in 20 years, but it really suits what happened with Maeda. This is a player who, at his best, was excellent. In the first version under Ange was this workhorse who maybe lacked the quality. Then Brendan Rodgers' record at Celtic at getting players who are already at the club firing is incredible. Kieran Tierney, Cal McGregor, Tom Rogic, and this Matt Riley, Daizen Maeda, there's been so many players he's probably taken to a new level under his guy, and that really felt the case. But something's gone wrong here. He obviously should have left. He needs to leave soon. It just feels that the fit, and now even if he went back to his old position on the left, there's the old saying for Brendan Rodgers about a million wingers. Well, there's a million left wingers there right now. Plenty of options. I think he can still probably make an impact. I don't buy that he's not trying or anything like that. He is. He's just a player he's always looked a bit, when it's not perfect for him, it can look a wee bit as if it's the first touch is wrong, and he isn't a hold-up striker. If it was me, I think there's a happy medium between not starting every week but still being a contributing, an impact player for the bench. How would you handle it?
Well, I think form might dictate here. He's so far off the boil. Where did all those go? Why did he suddenly turn into a natural finisher last season? Where's the Daizen Maeda that would always come storming in at the back post and tap home a low cross across the 6-yard box? And where's he gone? I think form might dictate that he'll drop out when Iheanacho's up to speed through the middle. Seb Taneke looks to have hit the ground running on the left. Balikwisha hasn't shown a lot, has he? But you've got to imagine he'll probably come in the right when again he's up to speed. I think Maeda might drop out just through his own form, unless he gets the finger out. He seriously needs to have a word with himself, because I thought the 45 minutes that he got in Belgrade the other night was the first time I've ever looked at him. I thought actually he could give more, because the one staple you got for Daizen Maeda was that he would empty the tank, give you 100%, but he just looked a wee bit on his heels at times the other night.
Did the
whistle go there?
It did go. We're heading up to the Granite City. Another week, another 2 defeats for Aberdeen. How long has Jimmy Thelin got to turn things round? It's very, very strange, this, isn't it? What is your take on it? Is there a pride come before a fall here? The fact that Dave Cormack's so invested?
Yeah. And that's not a healthy situation.
You're not the biggest fan, are you?
I've never believed the hype behind this Jimmy Thelin machine. I obviously came in with a remarkable, almost unbelievable run at the start of last season. It was so unbelievable that I was wanting to leave judgment until I hit his first bump in the road. I kept saying that. And when I hit that bump in the road, I think it came at Paisley against St Mirren, they've just never recovered in League One. Now, in the midst of all that, they've got this unbelievable Scottish Cup victory against Celtic. Nobody can ever take that away from him. And I actually think if he left Aberdeen, if he got sacked in the next week or two, if he left Aberdeen under a cloud, he would still be a hero in the majority of fans' eyes for ending that 35-year wait for a trophy. But look, the league form, the week-to-week form, since last November even, has been horrendous. Is it 5 wins in 32 league games now? Yeah. That is relegation form. It's unbelievable. Look, it's been backed massively by Dave Cormack. The way other managers haven't been backed with money in recent years. He's brought in 13 signings in the summer. I look at Aberdeen and they look like a team of individuals. No identity, no great substance. I don't think he knows his best central defensive pairing. I certainly don't think he knows his best midfield pairing behind the number 10.
Is that the problem? Aberdeen, they've almost got 18 players who could start.
Too many players,
but none of them are good enough to nail down a start.
They're not playing like a team of individuals, and there's no doubt there's talent there. But look, they've not even scored a goal in 5 league games. It's unbelievable. It's as poor as I can remember Aberdeen be. It's going back to the Squad days in his first 5 games in charge, but he had just taken over. This is Jimmy Thelin over a year into the job, and they seem to be regressing. What is your thoughts?
People are effusive in their praise of him, but people have worked with him and guys that know him coming actively make the move to Aberdeen.
All right, thanks for that, Graeme.
Exactly. Reunite with them. But it's not right. Anyone who knows anything about football, when they watch Aberdeen, or listen, even you don't know anything about football, you can see it a mile away. There's always space. You can always get in behind them. They're very passive. It just doesn't work. Nothing works. And it's the sample size is now huge. And we know it. It's awkward. And Motherwell are probably the last opponent you want to be playing. A team that very quickly shown that they've got something about them. Their manager's clued in.
Been a breath of fresh air, isn't it?
Yep.
Look, Aberdeen going to Europe. They've got another problem.
This should be the easy bit in the terms of the schedule. Like, not in fixtures, but spacing between fixtures. Now they've got 6 European games to fit in.
Exactly. That was my point. But look, sticking with Europe, going back to Celtic, supporters are hardly clambering for Europa League tickets. You know, I don't think I'll be a sellout against Braga.
Mm-hmm.
Is it time to snap out of their huff and realise the opportunity that lies in front of their team here in the Europa League?
Potentially, and I think for any fan, the draw in Belgrade was fine. It wasn't perfect, but it was a decent enough away performance. But going against Braga, it seems the type of game. It's even it's a decent kick-off time, 5:45.
Decent for who?
Well, it's not ideal. But if you plan ahead and you love your team, getting home a bit earlier as well, I don't think it's the worst really. It'd be a game that would appeal, but because rightfully fans are up in arms over a summer, and I think this is the bit that gets misinterpreted about Celtic in they've been won 13 titles or 14. They go, why would you be annoyed? They're annoyed because it's systematically year upon year. When it comes to Champions League qualifiers, they feel let down by the people that run their club. There's not a lot of forward thinking. Brendan Rodgers raised Bruges. I think the most important test case of a club who move quickly to get signings in. It can be done. It's not as if it's impossible. And then you end up I think see if Celtic lost gallantly and signed players and lost a Champions League epic to a team better than Kairat, I think there'd be a more acceptance. But there's multiple years evidence that there's something wrong. So they need to. I think the fans, as much as many would like to show up, looking at the seat plans as well, there is gaps. You can definitely tell single seats as well. Fans that maybe had enough of this, I can see why that there's they're going to make their stand. So there's obviously a part of fans that go, do you know what, I'd quite like to go to the game, but you know what, this is the time. If we don't make the stand now, and people could maybe say, oh, half the fans were in at Rugby Park, and if it's only like 3,000 fans missing, but maybe that protest is worth making for the people who feel it needs made. And when you're the biggest team in the country, sometimes this is the only way you can kind of make your voice heard. What do you think? Do you think it should just go to the game? And
in Europe, are they not cutting off their nose to spite their face here? There is a chance they should. Celtic, with that squad they've got now, should be targeting a lengthy run in this Europa League. Rangers, with nowhere near the quality in the squad Celtic have, went to the quarterfinals last season. Look at Man United and Tottenham getting to the final last season, barely scraping safety in the Premier League. There's a right opportunity here for Celtic.
But can that not be done?
Well, look, one of the greatest memories in kind of modern days Celtic's history, outside winning every title bar one, is 2003. That run to Seville, honestly. I mean, and look at some of the. Where did they go? They went to Liverpool, Blackburn, Stuttgart, Vigo, Boavista. What a journey! They absolutely loved it, and then they took over Seville. Why not think of the positives here? When did we get so snobby in this country that anything outside the Champions League is not good enough? What's wrong with the UEFA Cup? I used to love the UEFA Cup as a kid when it was straight knockout. Europa League's still the second best tournament in Europe. That is where they are. Go and attack it and give your fans some memorable days out. Still some good ties in that age, some league phase as well.
Fantastic. That's a fair point well made, my
friend.
Where
are we going now?
We're going up to McDermott Park. And will anyone stop St Johnstone? Free flowing Seamoville carries St Johnstone from romping the Scottish Championship title.
Have you seen the documentary? It's just dropped.
So a table getting flipped.
Aye.
For the brunt of that. No, it's
what is it? Bagpipes, Bravehearts. Bagpipes and Bravehearts, but it should be Bagpipes, Bravehearts, and brilliantly bonkers bosses. Simo Valakari is box office, right? And he's also getting results now in the park. So glad that St Johnstone stood by him. That documentary, honest, that's worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet. Valakari, he's got passion. He's exactly the kind of manager I think we'd all love to play for. Colourful character. I was there at Tynecastle the night they got relegated back in May, and the passion was just oozing out him. You knew he was invested. He was ready to get building for that very moment to work towards where they are now at the top of the Championship. They've got a great lead already, but if there's one thing we know about that Championship, there's always a curveball. Appears Falkirk almost threw away their seemingly unassailable lead at one point at the end of last season. So I still fancy Dunfermline, Partick Thistle and potentially one other to come good. St Johnstone looking strong right throughout the moment and got Josh McPake flying, but they'll hit a dip. That always happens in this season. It's whether others can take advantage. So right now I think they're rightly favourites to go on. Ross County have been really disappointing. Ross County got the strongest squad in that division, so they've been really disappointing. St John's for me are the team to catch, obviously, but I think there could be a curveball somewhere, and it might even be Neil Lennon's Dunfermline when they get up to speed. What do you think?
I disagree completely. This is a
brilliant
vintage Championship team, and they could be. I think they'll be a points total type team. They're going to go for the record, but yeah, I think they're amazing. Like, you look at the stats. That XG is one of these stats that people. I know you're not into it, listen, but it's simple. They have triple the shots, quadruple the shots every game. They look a class apart for them. And the only person, and please don't come from St Johnstone fans, the biggest danger for you could be Dave Cormack, because listen, it does come to a point where Aberdeen need to look for a manager. Simo Valakari to me is the identical modern manager where he mixes that old school passion with a really forward, progressive way of playing. I think he's unbelievable. And last year when he was preaching, give me a chance, give me next season, I genuinely believed him then. I did believe him. I think the players believed him. I think he's a legitimate manager who's proven himself to be. He gives you everything, doesn't he? It's a fun team to watch. That's what I say. Just
after a game,
exactly. I just think his work at St Johnstone will get noticed. I think that is the biggest strength of St Johnstone. The fact that he's
I spoke about curveballs. That was a big bendy one you threw in there, wasn't it?
Again, sorry guys.
Right, let's go international because I think Steve Clark will name his squad early next week for the middle two fixtures in this World Cup qualifying campaign. Greece and Belarus at home, massive, huge after that great start. He's not really one for mixing things up too much, which is fair enough. But do you see any shock conclusions in this squad?
Now, earlier on I was talking about Maeda being, sometimes people say he's not trying, it's a lazy suggestion, right? But some people think that's a lazy suggestion.
Maeda?
No, not Maeda for Scotland. They'll come back down. I'm just guiding you in. Colby Donovan, people go, he just played. What? I just shout. But I think, listen, Andy Ralston's been a regular in the squads.
Mm-hmm.
Colby Donovan straight away, and it's a lot of young player. I understand that, right? But England, a team with more reasons, the masters of that. Someone comes in, Maitland-Niles or whoever, with a couple of games, suddenly they're in the squad. You bud them in, even if it's just an appearance in the squad. And we know what right back's been like. Hickey's injuries. Patterson's not the player that he was. He's just not. Ralston's been a kind of solid option. I think getting Colby Donovan around the squad as quickly as possible with this kind of condensed squad, if we make the World Cup, if he plays playing against for Celtic, he'll be in the mix to be in anyway. It might not be for a start, but he's like that Josh Doig level player where you want him in and about it early in a position. But the difference with Josh Doig, his path to the first team is pretty.
He's there.
Exactly.
He's made it.
Well, exactly.
What do you mean, Scotland first team?
Oh, Scotland first team.
Oh,
yeah, of course. No, with Doig. I think Doig's obviously the left back options we've had over the years. Somebody like Colby Donovan is a legitimate option. If he plays multiple games for Celtic, he's right in the mix. I think it's someone that I would get in early and see what he's all about, because he seems to make it. I wish I could have said this 2 weeks ago, but the reports of him at Celtic are gleaming. Like, people adore him. They really,
I've seen him a few times. I really like him.
Player.
Do you know what? I hope Celtic you see when Johnstone and Ralston are fully fit again, I still hope Donovan gets 10-15 games this season when everyone's available. I'm with that. I like that. Steve Clark does like to get young guys involved with the squad, bleed them in so they're used to the environment and that. I wouldn't be against that at all. It's hard to see any. Maybe Tommy Conway is one for me. Flying high with Middlesbrough at the top of the Championship down south. He was overlooked. I
agree with that too.
A wee bit.
I don't mean to. I disagree with that strongly.
Good. He's maybe felt a bit harshly overlooked in favour of Kieran Bowie last month. I just wonder if Clark might flip that. Conway scored a few goals of late. Middlesbrough flying high. He's very much their number one striker. But outside that, as much of a muchness, and can't really blame Steve Clark for that. He likes to keep that team spirit together. Let's move on.
Okay, so this is a big one. What? On you go. No, sorry, but I think we're both going to ask it. Do you want to hold hands with that?
I'm not quite sure what one we're on.
Signing of the season so far.
Signing of the season? Oh, I always like a talker, don't we?
Yes.
Like a talker, right?
Who's the best
one
signing?
for a pub? Signing of the season in the Scottish Premiership so far.
Yep.
There's a few candidates up Tannadice way. I like, obviously, Ivan Dolček's getting all the headlines at the moment, and I think Zach Sapsford's been a right find as well, a right natural finisher up there. But I'm going to go to Tynecastle. Who am I going to say? Claudio Braga. Honestly, he's got everything that you would look for in just a iconic figure in Hearts history. I think
cult classic.
Cult hero is what I was looking for. He's going to be a cult hero, I think, and he could be the flag bearer for the old Jamestown Analytics because he came out of nowhere, didn't he? Braga, 6 goals, I think, so far in 7, 8 or 9 appearances. So he knows the way to go. He's got a right aggressive, direct nature about him for a forward, something that a lot of Hearts signings over the last 12 months, maybe 18 months, lacked. You need that in the ferocity of Tynecastle. You need that in the Derek McInnes side, and he's got it. It seems to be right up for the battle in the Scottish Premiership, and the fans love him already. I think he's linking up well with Lawrence Shankland, and Hearts are top of the league for a reason, and I think Claudio Braga is a massive part of that reason. Give me your thoughts, Graeme.
Ivan Dolček, unbelievable. Like this is so. The other week I was touting Jim Goodwin as an option, Celtic director of football. Some people agreed, some didn't. But it's signings like Ivan Dolček that make the difference. We know that clubs are getting shown millions of players and agent based and scout based wise, however they find players. But Dolček to get a player like Dolček, he's a legitimate option, and he's just brilliant. Like, these right wingers that cut on the left foot, they're just proper players.
Yeah.
And he's as good as, and that's what makes a team like Dundee United can only survive at the level they did last season if the signings are up to spec. Now, you mentioned Sapsford, but the whole team, Kamara as well, it's really well thought out. But Dolček's the type of player that makes Scottish football really good when teams out with Celtic and Rangers are getting players that get bums off seats, and he's one of the best I've seen in recent seasons. He's been an absolute cracking player, but Braga as well is obviously right in the mix.
Come the end of the season, I think we could go full 180 on Kelechi and Acho.
Definitely.
But at the end of the season, we could be talking about him perhaps being the sign of the season. What a story that would be.
Oh no, I think Middlesbrough fans are looking for trade description acts as well. I think that goal the other night, he wasn't at the Riverside last season.
True.
So will you take us home?
No, on you go. No, I'll bring you home. Right. It's all about Ryder Cup this weekend, isn't it? No, understand.
We're back in blue.
We'll probably already be swinging away. Balls will be high in the air by the time this video hits the airwaves. But, so let's avoid a straightforward prediction. Let's go for the big talker ahead of the start of the Ryder Cup. America receiving the stipend. What do you make of that? Does that almost mean their team cares less about this tournament than Europe?
I really, really don't like it, honestly. And the argument is that all players get paid and different off tours and all this, but there's something just enough's enough. And I know it's been watered down and they're all donating it, but the fact that they've pushed this all kind of came out of the last Ryder Cup in Rome, and there's just something about the European team. Like, it's got to that point where the European team's angelic and the USA are the sinners. It's not quite. It's a bit more. Yeah, exactly. But there's more to it than that. But there's a core element of the US team that I don't think represents the true values of the Ryder Cup. And I think that's where they've come unstuck. It's really easy. I think Europe, that's what makes it so strong, because the captains, vice captains, people involved, most of the senior players, their success goes over generations. They've got loads of examples of going wrong and coming back and getting it right. I still feel that you can name some of these. The course is made, Bethpage Black is made for USA to win this, right? But I just believe that act sums up why Europe's got just a bit more about them, and when it really comes to the crunch, to nick a half or find a way to win a tight singles game on Sunday, that's the difference. And I just think any form of payment, you can now, like they're trying to make the case that, it's just most of it's going to charity. It's not good enough. It's unacceptable, and I think it's against the spirit of the game. How do you feel on it?
These guys are really needing the money. Though.
No, exactly.
They're really needing the money. They must
too much. Exactly.
Must be struggling to pay their bills. These Americans.
But you must. How do you?
No, I'm with you. Look, I don't think it means they care less about the tournament, because I think this American team will scratch, fight for every point they can get out there. Yeah. I think they've maybe gone to the self-destruct about them. I know a few more egos in that squad than certainly Europe, and I like the Europe spirit, which is why I'm not going to say it, but quite, where I was maybe going to go there with this European team. I've fancy them. Right, I fancy them.
Okay.
Actually, pull this
We can
off.
edit
I've
this
said
out,
it
don't
now.
we?
Edit it out before it goes live. Look, no, I'm with you. It's got a bad. It looks bad, doesn't it? In this day and age where these guys are among the top paid sportsmen on the planet. Why it was needed, I know it's going to charity, the vast majority of it, or the whole whack. I mean, why did they not just make a charitable donation anyway and forget about it going straight to the players?
Cack-handed.
Where did it come from? Why is it needed? It's distracted from their start to the competition. It's a bad look, and it just plays right in Europe's hands, which we should be grateful for.
Back in play, mate.
Absolutely. So look, that's us. That's us heading to the 19th hole now. So thanks, Graeme. That was great fun. Another one in the bag. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. In the meantime, you can catch us on all the socials on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and on Apple Podcasts. We'll be back next week for more of the same nonsense. Thank you very much.